So welcome everybody to round three of the D1A. We've got two games we're going to go through today, and we're going to get right into it. First game we're going to do is Joshua and Scott. Over to you.
No,
Hello.
cool. So Life versus Army. Was really very excited to be part of this game. Uh, Very hot in Atlanta. I would advise you check the weather before you go there if you're going in the next few weeks. Uh, but yeah, no, really fast game, very dynamic. Uh, Me after the game, of course, I didn't feel like you know. I set the platform well for a great game. But there are very many key takeaways for me that I discussed with Scott after the game, uh, especially in the scrum, just setting yourself up for success, following your process and getting that simplified. So I think that's what we want to talk about and share with the group here.
Great. Is Scott with us yet? Oh, there you are. You're muted.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Scott, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, look, I just missed what you said, so I'm going to assume that you said you learned a lot around the scrums, you learned a lot about positioning, and welcome to top 10 D1A rugby, my friend.
Yeah, I didn't talk about the positioning here, but there were also key learning moments in the positioning. So I just concentrated on the scrums because that's what we're going to present to the group. So yeah, and Richard, we pulled out three clips that I wanted to show to the group. Just wanted to show them, talk about my process and uh, what I could have done to make for a better scrum day. So
Great. Did we do a Scrum presentation last week? Did we?
we did.
Yes, we
Okay.
did.
It's great. Okay, so where should we start with the clip? Scrum process one?
One, yep.
You want the audio on or not?
Yeah, it can be on. It's not bad.
Use, use, use.
Okay, just go back there. Yeah, I think I clipped it, but so,
Did you want to start from the beginning again? I can
yeah,
find it for you.
yeah, it's a fast, yeah, just the process, whole process.
While you find it, Richard, I'll just say,
Sorry.
no, you're fine. We're here now already.
Yep.
Yes, Cody, you can talk about.
Okay, so this is what we talked about. We talked about alignment, stability, binding, and pushing straight. And the idea is it's just a structure to work within as a referee around the scrums to hold yourself accountable to getting the best possible outcome. The things that we can control as a referee is getting them aligned correctly, making sure there's stability after every call, making sure the binds are legal, and then once the ball comes in, they're pushing towards the goal lines and not the sidelines, right? That's basically the plan. It's real simple. And so the process that I went through when I was learning how to referee scrums was when I had an issue, in my review, I had to make sure that I could tick every box. Did I get the alignment? Yes. Was it stable before I called bind? Yes. Were the binds legal? Yes or no? Was there stability? And it's a real easy way to go through your scrums to identify where the issue is without getting too complicated with all the crazy front row stuff, who's doing this and arms and blah, blah, blah. So what we did with Josh was just to go through his scrums, which he had a tough day at the office, identifying what the issue was, and by going through this real simple four-step plan or process rather, he identified his problems. Every time he was able to identify his problems by going through this simple process. Now the trick is to take the process onto the field with you, and then you can do it live in the game. Is that a fair summary, Josh, of what we talked about?
Yeah, fair, very fair.
So in this example, let's just go for it nice and slowly. Josh, why don't you talk through the process with the group and identify where your issues are.
Yeah, no, yeah, let's start Scrum start. So yeah, we have a proper alignment there. Stable binds, legal, and then we don't have stability on the porting. And that's what was causing everything.
And if you were refereeing the scrum again, what's your solution?
Get them up, remind them of what uh, we talked about in the on the pre-chat. I need you to be stable. I need you to be stable.
Because
We're
what
not doing this
usually
again.
happens after we have these games of rugby and we look at the scrum, we're going to go, oh, that the far side prop was coming in on an angle, right? And we sort of focus on that being the issue, where in fact the issue is that we have zero stability after he calls set.
Hmm.
Now, the best thing we can do is make sure they're stable, have a stable platform before the ball comes in to give us the best chance. So before we go into like who's cranking on the bind or who's doing this with their feet or who's driving on an angle, the referee must be able to tick all those boxes and hold themselves accountable to a standard. And
Was the time from bind to set also really short?
yeah, we did actually discuss that, didn't we, Josh, on this
Yeah,
particular scrum?
yeah.
A little
We
bit
did a
quick.
little. Yeah,
So it never forces them to be steady and still.
Yeah, good
Is the
idea.
point.
Good idea, Mark. That's a great. Yeah, so that's good idea. Good pickup. But the key really around these scrums is that we need to simplify it for ourselves. We only talk to the players around their alignment. Are they being stable? Are they binding legally? Are they pushing straight? We don't get into all the nuances and pretend we know what we're talking about. So this is a really nice way to guide and a really strong process to get you through and out of trouble during the game. So my advice to Josh on this scrum was I would have never gone past, I would have never let the ball be fed into the scrum. I would have blown the whistle. I would have reminded them of the conversation we had in the locker room about alignment, stability, binding, and pushing straight, because we all agreed on that pre-match, didn't we, boys, ladies? Yes, or come on, I need stability. And that gives the referee the best opportunity to have a successful outcome.
Yep.
yeah, and I think that was my key learning moment in uh, the scrums, just transferring the pressure back to the players.
Hmm.
Because and this is just another one of them. So, and I think this one with the audio, you could hear me asking for stability, but then I'm not enforcing it. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's just all about the setup, right? All about the setup. And I think that I don't think I saw any scrum where this scrum player was ever aligned or this tight head here was never aligned or straight or anything. He did such a great job. He even managed to pop the hooker a couple of times, and it's something that we have to deal with. We have to stop, right? It's dangerous. Got to get it out of the game. Back to basics.
yeah, and this is one of those where yeah, once everything is set up correctly, the scrum goes on smoothly. So
This one's good.
yeah,
This is also a green ball, right?
yeah, green ball.
So is there more stability on greens put in?
I think we had a couple where we had stability on both, but not so many. So,
Yeah, that one was better. Good.
so
Yeah, I really think the key around the scrum stuff and refereeing is that you just have to say to yourself, I'm not prepared to put up with this sort of
Yep.
stuff. I'm just not going to do it because what
Yeah.
a horrible day you have when you have to deal with these types of scrums. Like every time there's a forward pass and knock on, you're like, oh, here we go. I've got to deal with the scrum again. So the advice I gave to Josh is that when it comes to scrums, you have to have strong process. You have to have gone over and practice what you're going to say, right? So you have some credibility when you talk and you're not just speaking a whole lot of nonsense. And you have to grow 10 foot tall.
Yep.
You really just have to say, I'm not prepared to deal with this. We've had an agreement pre-game. If you don't live up to that agreement, then I'm going to have to, penalize or send you off the field, whichever is necessary. But to sit there all game long and just take it like that, it's horrible to watch. I feel bad for the referees who are prepared to do it. It's not a good spectacle for the public to watch. So it's really important that we early in the season we commit to getting these sorted out.
Yep. Which is why we did the presentation last week to just keep it simple, right? Got to keep it simple. You can go back and watch the video from last week. It's all there. It's just stick to the basics. You don't have to be a scrum expert to referee the scrum. So, thanks, Josh.
yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott. I mean, what I wanted to add on, me and Scott had a robust 2 hour discussion on, a lot of things we talked about, not for this meeting, but anybody can have a watch at my game. I think I'll publish it soon. So, yeah, a really good game to learn from. Yeah, uh, thanks.
Thank you. Liz and Olivia. Hello.
Hey everyone, how are you?
Good on you.
Um, had a really fun game down in Mary, Washington. Beautiful pitch down there. It did rain towards the end of the game as well. Um, there was a lot of real PKs that happened in the scrums, and then also a few in the line out, playing the man in the air, and then a few. Um, and then like a lot of the penalties felt like they were coming from like the set pieces, which I didn't really feel like I could play on from. It wasn't like ruck and tackle situation penalties, which is typically where I get most of my penalties from. um so I feel like that kind of drove up the penalty count a little bit there. Like Josh, I felt like my scrums, I kind of lost my standard in my scrums a little bit. I had the players kind of taking away the space at the bind, and kind of overmanaged and then kind of deteriorated in that as well. But my goals for the day were, thank you for scrolling down, were to have effective penalties. So I think like that did happen. Again, like I don't think that like we didn't see a lot of the same thing over and over again. I was making clear and obvious calls and then again letting like 50-50 situations play on. I would say my escalation, there is a a point where I'll bring up escalation that I think that I could have done better here. Where I have like four penalties in a row and there's no chat. And then just really trying to take pressure off myself when it comes to communicating with the players and the captains, and just kind of figuring out how to do that a little bit better as well. So those are the things that I focused on for my clips.
I don't think
Um,
Olivia had time to look at it yet, right? Because we got the game until late.
no,
Okay.
yeah, we didn't get a chance to chat. We just send like some emails back and forth. I don't know if she's on the call at all either.
Yeah.
Yeah. She told me I was a little bit too hard on myself, which I think is okay.
Yeah.
Um, it was again like a pretty close game. The final score was 33 to
Warm.
20.
Mm.
We had Mount St. Mary's won. Um, one of and there's like a couple points here that I think bring into contention kind of input on the game from like a
Where should
referee.
we start?
Yeah, that's great. Boom, boom, boom. I would like to start calms, frustration, and dissent. Um, these clips are a little bit longer. They're like around like a minute to 2 minutes long. You can feel my
Play through.
frustration. Before we start the clip, um, I've refereed so many games, and I've never had anyone really ask me multiple times where the mark was. And that is something that Blue did constantly for like the first five marks. And you'll see that here on top of it. And then right before this, I had been yelled at by Blue, who was in possession of the ball, asking for some type of penalty at a ruck. So I wanted to clear that up. And we're about 9 to 8 minutes in. So kind of setting my standards as well. The reason why we stopped, they're about to have the ball back. There's a turnover here.
When it's your ball and it's your possession, I have this player yelling for things in and around the ruck. It will not affect me. It will affect you. To continue.
He didn't talk to me for the remainder of the game, which is really good. Now we come back to the mark, and you can see the hooker pointing around.
I just made a mark, yeah? Chatter!
Listen, learn.
So in this moment, I feel like I'm clearly frustrated, and it's one of those things where I want to again create a standard for the like reducing chatter to me. And I think from like a understanding of like where like chatter is coming from, I don't think I was ready or anticipated this type of challenge at the mark, which is really small. Um, but it leads into more management for me that I just didn't want to put on myself. Um, and again, like the challenge at the mark is like in front of a majority of the players on the field as well. And it kind of ended it all right there, as well. So I
Would you
don't
do
like
it any
the
differently next
outcome.
time?
I don't think I would allow the quick tap.
Right.
I think that it wasn't on the mark upon review.
Mm.
And um the nine who I had just talked with, I think was fully understanding of like what was happening.
Sure.
The the pack is not aware of what I just spoke to the captain about,
Yeah.
There was a pack captain as well. Maybe I should have brought him into that conversation.
Mm.
But he wasn't necessarily the speaking captain, and that wasn't what I was addressing with the speaking
Yeah.
captain at that moment. So I don't think I would allow the quick tap. To
Definitely
kind of
not. But
yeah,
I also think you can also just think about just giving a free kick for wasting time, right?
yeah,
So it's just how you address it and how you want to get away from that. So now, you know, maybe the way it played out, but now you get to the halfway line, a lot of the blue players will be upset, right? So I mean, you're sure you can give a penalty for dissent, you can give a free kick for wasting time, but you definitely should make sure they take it on the mark, you know, and then just to get structure because you're trying to create structure on the one side, you got to create structure for both teams at the same time. Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Do
So
you,
that
Liz,
that
do you
brought the
think,
score to 0 to 10 right here, and we're like around 9 minutes in, just so for context for everyone.
Someone had a comment?
yeah, I was just going to say, Liz, do you think the number two was being pedantic about the mark to sort of to challenge you in a way? Was that the feeling he was sort of trying to undermine you, or did he have a legitimate? Was it a legitimate or because it
Um,
seems
so
strange that someone would ask for the mark over and over again unless he's trying to sort of undermine you in a way.
yeah, so it wasn't his first time asking for the mark. I think this is probably the fifth, or I don't know, like probably the fourth scrum, leading up to this point. And it had been a question, again, multiple times. We're like 10, 9 minutes in. And I had to like make marks again and again and again.
Mhm.
And the scrums just
Liz?
weren't really good. Um, like the standard, we had like early engagement, we had to reset the first few as well. The problem was um, with this specific instance is that there was a forward pass. I made my mark, and while they were collecting the ball, because it was a turnover, I decided to stop time to chat about the nine because again they were going to be getting the ball back and there was already bad behavior on the field. So I thought it was so I had made a mark and I think I came back and made it at a different spot, but like probably very close to one another, less than a foot away. And I think that's kind of what he was pointing at as well. So there's a lot of context to
Yeah,
the whole situation. I don't think I handled it well. I was frustrated. And I don't like how it led to a try.
right.
Liz,
Yeah.
can we see on one of the penalties that became a problem? Can we just see the video from the time you blew your whistle? I'm
Yeah.
looking to see basically how the focus went to the offending team, getting them back, creating the space, and if your body language, you're sort of showing them where the mark is without having to do a lot of work. Does that make sense?
Richard's in charge of the video.
I've got no idea what you're talking about, but I know we've been talking about this clip for a very long time now.
All right, that's fine.
So,
Liz,
okay,
another
so if you
moment,
don't
maybe
mind,
I'll watch some of your video.
Yeah, go back.
yeah,
It's only in the first 8 minutes, so it's
yeah.
not too
That's
tough.
fine.
Let's do
Okay, which one?
so then right after that, let's go to four penalties and no chat escalation.
Okay, let's
All
try and
right.
get through these clips a little quicker, eh?
Yeah, of course. Sorry. Um, so right here we're gonna have white ceiling.
Number
We have
10.
blue five come in and like kind of tuffle into that guy's hair, shove.
Yeah, yeah.
We push him back for the shove. Again, there's not really like I don't need to talk to them. He knows there's no communication there as opposed to just pushing them back. Then we
Mhm.
have a line out. You can fast forward like 20 seconds. Taking the man out of the air.
Same player.
No, by white, different player.
Taking the man out of the air.
So these are all dangerous. I would classify them all as foul play.
Hmm.
Maybe not that last one. And then we have a no attempt to wrap tackle, high tackle.
Number 10, no time to wrap. Thank you.
So I think everything's really clear as to what I'm calling. And we don't see this, like these aren't trends that like continue throughout the game. We're
Hmm.
about 10 minutes away from where we just were. We had, and like for my goals and like my triggers, like this is 4 in 2 minutes, and 2 for me should be too many. And I need to have a chat there and or escalate. Again, we would be like 18 minutes into the game, and potentially this is like 4 foul play penalties in a row. We could yellow card here for
I thought
repeated.
the first one was just ceiling, right? And then there was the push, and then there was in the air,
Okay, so
and then
3
yeah, yeah,
before team penalties
yeah,
in 2 minutes.
yeah,
So that was like upon review. So I kind of lost my penalty count here. So, and that was probably like the first 4 big penalties from White, and they all
yeah.
came very close to one
Back
another.
to back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, after the one in the air, you can always talk to the captain, right? I mean, because it's just like so, it's just unnecessary. Right?
Yeah. So the ball was like kicked away. So they
Yeah.
scored. So they score. Penalty kick. Kick a goal there. Then let's just do ba-bum ba-bum.
Line out awareness.
Yeah, line out awareness. All right, so we're 24 minutes. This is like 4 minutes after that. Blue had just scored. White now has the ball back. You'll see the one with white one with the blue scrum
Enough
cap.
here.
I noticed that, and they score a try.
Enough here.
What are we looking at?
So the blue scrum cap,
So
he
this player,
shifts,
okay.
he shifts sideways.
Yeah, that's a nothing burger, Liz.
Okay, I don't.
Burger
I
there.
don't. I think it's like a management thing. And I wanted to just bring it to everyone's attention that like
Yeah,
um because like I do address it in the moment and then they score. So these are just like things like in my mind. It's kind of like how am I impacting the game? But I don't know if that's the right way to be thinking about it either. So I was okay with the play on. I mean, it wasn't like
yeah.
just wanted to like show it. I think it like leads to like frustration from 5 as well. And then I think I forgot to put something in here. Let me see if I can add it really, really quick.
It's sort of like what we talked about in Naira, Richard, where
Yeah,
when you address something that you think is sort of a little bit off, you got to be aware of what the other team's going to say. Like, well, if
yeah,
he instructed me, then that can't be a try. So
right.
by acknowledging it that you saw it, you now have to deal with it. So sometimes it's better just to put your head in the sand, so to
Okay.
speak,
Yeah,
around the
yeah.
little.
Because it was nothing much, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then let me see if I can add this to meeting real quick. Okay. I'm gonna refresh. It's called what? So then again, now White has just scored. Blue's kicking off. ARs might have helped on this. We have Blue shoving White one in the back at this next breakdown. So I only saw a white coming down, and he came down on a blue player on the ground.
Number one. Here. Oh, yeah, yeah. What I saw is this player coming in from the wrong direction. Okay, I don't know how he got there. Okay, so I'm gonna go penalty for in from the wrong direction. I don't know how he got there.
So it's actually blue 5. I believe he has one of these scrum caps. Pushes, yeah, 1 in the back
Uh,
into that ruck area.
yeah,
Yeah. And then at the
unfortunate.
next line out, I talk to one and I just say, like, I don't have ARs. That's what I have to go off of. And he was pretty understandable in the moment.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But again, these are all instances of like potential like foul play.
Mhm.
Um, that kind of added to a little bit of contention in the first half.
I also think maybe in some of these situations you could just give it a little bit breathing room, right?
Yeah,
Just give it another couple of seconds and just see how it plays out.
yeah.
You
I
know,
think I think
rather than trying to assume you saw something different.
Yeah, I think how he fell and he fell on the back of like the blue player made me escalate it in that way. Because he fell on like the lower limbs of him.
Yeah,
So how'd you get
I
there?
think you have to be really, really careful when you're doing when you're unsure of what's happened
yeah,
and you impose a sanction on someone. It's like the amount of credibility that you would lose accusing someone of a crime they didn't commit is way worse than the other way around and missing something. So, my advice to you, Liz, as a referee, sometimes you just got to eat a bit of humble pie and be like, you know what, I didn't see what happened, so it's play on.
Yeah.
Now, if it's
yeah,
dangerous, people are hurt, you can blow the whistle, tie them off. Let's make sure everyone's okay. But guessing is a very slippery slope, and I think not only will it keep you up at night when you review your match, now you got to send this poor guy a cup of coffee and a I'm sorry card for the bad call. But yeah, maybe it's best to eat those. If you're not 100% sure, probably better to eat them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I blew the whistle like way too early, and like right away once when I saw it. So that's probably yeah, kind of weighed on that. But then I had to make a decision. Like it wasn't like, oh, I can just like restart with a
Good
scrum.
catch. I mean, really, it's a good catch that you saw him flying through, really. I mean, yeah, right? But sometimes you go, I don't know what happened. And you can just say that as the play's going on. Didn't see anything there, nothing clear and obvious to me. Play on, play on, play on.
Yeah,
yeah.
cool. And then the last thing is the location for this yellow card and try. Um
I play through.
yeah, you can play through.
No, no, no. No, no, no. Yeah, yeah.
Show him the cheddar. There we go. Yeah! Let's go. Give the whistle. Give the whistle. Penalty try. Yeah! Let's try it. Version counts too.
I'll have to kick off.
So even given that long try, I didn't realize where I was on the field. I think that the um he was the last defender in that situation on that side. It would be a 3-on-1 situation right there. And he breaks up that entire thing for me. I spoke with the coach after the game, and he was kind of concerned that these players running across the field would have had enough stamina to cover that. So kind of just what are we all thinking? And
Yeah, and I think that this is one of those calls that we'll always, we'll always debate. And I think one of the main things is, and Scott said this a couple of times, and we've said it, is, you know, you sold it with conviction. You know,
Yep.
in your mind, it's going to be a try. Gave the yellow card, gave the penalty try, and on you went. You know, it wasn't like it was darts or you were trying to figure out this or that. You know, and I think from just from perspective, I did send a clip around the world to a couple of people, and you know, we had one referee manager who said he's sort of a little bit on the fence because it's so far, and we had the other referee manager who said absolutely it's a penalty try. You know, so I think the main point is that you made the decision with conviction, and
Yeah.
you know,
I believed her.
yeah,
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 I love that about your refereeing. Let's just watching these clips that you put up. The way you sell and the conviction is spot on, eh?
yeah,
So, well done. I mean, this is a big call. The players have been giving you a bit of grief during the match, and you stay strong and you sell it really well. So, well done.
yep,
Awesome. That's all my clips. Thanks, guys.
good stuff. And then I just see that Diego, you put in two clips here. You want us to have a quick look at
Yes.
them and tell us
So,
about them?
right. So first of all, the quality of the video is really low and
Mm,
it's recorded from farther away. But it's in the rack. It's two things happens. One is cleaning the player beyond the rack,
mm,
which I'll be honest, I didn't see at the moment. I saw on review. But the question that I have is when the scrum half for black pick up the ball, a white player who was onside behind the last foot, ran through the rack and tackle the number 9. So I want to see the thoughts about that.
What did you do? What was your decision?
I honestly I play on, but it was something like I I saw that and I was not sure. So I play on, and then they lost the ball forward. But
Are you questioning whether the ball was out and the nine can be played, Diego?
right. So my question is if the player can run through the rack and tackle the player who pick up the ball, or they need to go around the rack to tackle the player.
So I think the easiest call to make here is that when these players lift the ruck, that player is probably offside, right? Because they were never onside there. And it's easy just to penalize them for offside, right?
Diego, was that player part of the ruck?
No,
No, he was behind the rack just waiting for the ball to be picked up.
yeah.
And he
But at
was,
some point he's offside, right?
that's
Yeah.
probably,
Yeah. At some point he's offside. And then he just does this like dives thing across. I'll just penalize him. It's easier to clean up the game. Be nice if you saw that take out beyond the beyond the ruck too.
Right,
Right.
but my question is about the law more than anything. Like, let's assume that he is completely onside. He
Yeah.
can go through the rack and tackle the player, or need to go around the rack to tackle the player.
and
That's why.
he can't go over the top of players on the ground.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if there's a gap, the ruck is over. And if he's fully onside, he can go through, but he can't
Sure.
jump over players on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So just play this, and what do you think about this?
What do you think about it?
Well, for me, it took me a moment to think what's happening, but it was a tackle. The shackler arrived just right away, but I'm not sure if the shackler start contact with the ball in an onside position. And my question is, we penalize the player for not rolling away in that instance, even if the shackler arrived really fast, or we just allow.
The jackler is not even coming through the gate, right? Look at their arms there. They're always coming from the side.
Early, eh? And they.
Yeah, they never came through the gate, the jackler. So you can penalize anybody, penalize tackler, penalize jackler from the side, either way.
Diego, the way
Okay.
I would look at this when you're talking about if there's a tackler there, can I reward a jackler? Right. And I think sort of most of the times it's safe to assume if the tackler's not getting out of the way, it's an easy penalty to sell, and we all
Yep,
understand. But there are some nuances around it, and you know, and with your experience comes you can make those decisions because it's a grey area and it's not
yep.
fair to not reward a real positive jackal because a tackler happens to be there having zero effect. So it's not black and white, but I think it's a good starting place. If I have a tackler, then I have to be aware that and make sure that tackler is not affecting the ability of the ball carrier to play the ball or the arriving players. But if the jackler beats everyone and there's a tackler on the ground, I mean, the tackler has to be somewhere at some point. They're going to be on the ground in the way at some point. If the jackler gets there before the ball carrier support can help, then you can award the jackler.
But they got to be 100% legal.
Yeah.
Jackler
Okay.
has to
At
be
least
legal.
99%.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Diego, to make a comment, Richard, I watched this game. I was asked to watch this game, and I thought, Diego, you had a fantastic game. Your poise and grace on the field is amazing. The way you talk to the players. So anyone who wants to know about positioning and poise and grace on the field, I would watch this game because it was fantastic. I was so impressed with you, mate. So I don't usually love bomb referees live on TV, but I was really impressed with what you did out there. The way you moved, the way you worked infield, your soft communication skills. This is a fantastic example of what we would love to see every Saturday afternoon from this group.
No, thank
Yep.
you.
So well
Thank
done,
you
mate.
very much. For this match, what I decided to do is trying to talk even less. That's why I almost didn't talk, only when necessary.
It was brilliant, mate. It was really, really good. And if we had this as a baseline standard for our performance, mate, wow, what a great league it's going to be. So, yeah, well done, mate.
Thank you.
So we're actually like way ahead of time this time. So that's really good. Um, you know, just looking back at the clips we had today, and the games, I think, looking at what Liz said, just about players sort of being in your face, when you're going to deal with it, when you're not going to deal with it, um, you know, when you're going to react and not react, and what you can manage and can't manage. It's not always that difficult, but it is important that you get this sort of back chat and the sort of chirping at you out of the game because we don't want that. Nobody needs it. So if you get it out the game early, it normally creates a much better atmosphere for the game. And like Liz said, when she addressed the number 9, that that stopped. But then it still escalated in the other areas, which probably could have been dealt with differently. But it's really important in these games, that we just go back to basics all the time. Looked at Josh's game, the scrum process. We had a whole half an hour scrum presentation last week, but it's all about just keeping it simple. Just simple, stick to your process. I'll put in those, the 4 things that Scott said to focus on. But we don't really want to go in, week out, and still be talking about the scrum. Just set it up properly and address the issues when they come around. And you have to referee the scrums all the way through. And also, we just had a little discussion about, oh, was it on white ball or green ball were the issues? You have to know where the issues are and when they happen and where you are on the field. So it's a lot to take in, but just try and simplify, And then what Diego talked about, communication, less is always more. Just keep it simple and be very specific in what you say. And every time you say something, it's got to be to deliver a message that has an outcome. But anyway, thanks to everybody. We really appreciate you being on these calls, being out there week in and week out on these games. We know it's a lot of work and you put a lot of effort in. And, we're here to support you. Remember, if you have any issues with things you want to deal with, you can always reach out to me, reach out to your peers. Let's work this as a group through the season. We're only 3 rounds in. We've only had a few games. We've got a lot of games coming up in October and November. So let's make sure that we work together as a team and keep building. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thanks, Richard. Cheers.